Hi, I'm Chris Nedza, Lead Entrepreneur in Residence of the Advanced Technology Development Center at Georgia Tech. We're the state of Georgia's technology incubator. Welcome to Season 1 of the ATDC podcast, Executive Bytes. We focus on the startup founders in our portfolio, what sparked them to launch their companies, the market problem they've solved, and even how they overcame the thoughts of quitting when times get rough. Enjoy. Well, welcome back for this episode of Executive Bytes. Barbara Jones, CEO of Freeing Returns. Man, you have pretty darn good story. It's a really interesting story. So, but before we get in there with you, Barbara, Blake Cook, we had you on as a guest, and Blake is the CEO of Due Process. Yeah, man, I love your product as well. It's like that TikTok for training. It's pretty cool. But it's all about you, Barbara.
Okay.
So, interesting facts about you that I came to learn. Not only you're a super sweet, nice, kind person, but former military, right?
Yes, so Gulf War veteran.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Barbara's a badass. Also, you're a bit of a software developer yourself, and you used to develop, you were an Oracle girl, right? So you built CRM applications and ERP applications.
Point of sale applications, from scratch for Oracle, and my first company was acquired by Oracle Retail.
So, Blake, we are surrounded by greatness.
I love this. I love it. I need it.
So, Barbara, tell us a little bit about Freeing Returns, and then we're going to get into why in the world you started it and the more personal side of this journey, because it's always up and down as an entrepreneur. So tell me about Freeing Returns.
Yeah, so Freeing Returns, that's my baby, and it comes from 20 plus years in the retail industry. So I think we've all seen recently in the news, smash and grabs, people breaking into stores, loss prevention folks getting killed trying to stop fraudsters. So Freeing Returns is a total retail loss solution that allows retailers to see where they're losing money due to fraud, shrink, and operational inefficiencies. And we tie into those camera feeds, and we tie into that data to give these loss prevention teams a way to find this fraud without running after someone and risking their lives.
Okay, so I get it. You have this experience with Oracle and databases, right?
Yeah.
So you understand how the data structures work, so you tie into those.
Yep.
And you're using the data to identify.
Exactly.
You're not stopping the smash and grabs, but you are able to look at other things and other fraud, right?
Yeah, all types of, not only fraud, what we realize, shrinkage.
Okay.
So retailers lose 30% of their revenue due to fraud, but 70% is operational inefficiencies, which we also look at losses around inventory shortages, overages, vendor credits they're not receiving. So that's why it's a total retail loss solution, because it's loss across the board, not just the fraudsters.
Okay, super interesting. And go ahead, Billy.
Well, how did you pivot from your previous world directly into this? I mean, what was the idea that this is a need?
Yeah. So
because you were in retail, but you weren't selling stuff. You were in the retail side because all your applications were major, very large enterprise scale applications.
Right. Yeah, I was always in some type of startup, fresh out of college, but I was building enterprise point of sale solutions. And once we got the first startup I had got acquired by Oracle, they basically launched their whole retail practice on our point of sale system that we created. And once I saw this startup that I started at, I was employee 25.
Okay.
We grew to employee 200 and raised a ton of money, and Oracle acquired us. And I saw this startup go from 25 people to 200. I watched everything. And I was one of the few software developers in the company that took equity versus cash early on.
Right.
And
Smart.
so fresh out of college. So I don't know what I was thinking back then, but I was smart to say, I'll take equity, stock options. And when we got acquired, I was probably the only software developer that got money for the acquisition. So everybody's like, Barbara, how did you get paid out? So I was taking equity. At the beginning, you guys were taking raises. And so watching that process, I knew I'm going to start a company. I never went to work for Oracle after we got acquired. I started a basically one-woman consulting firm at that point, and my first client was Home Depot, who was one of our early adopters in the startup. And so my first client in my one-woman consulting firm was Home Depot, and I knew then I was on to something.
Yeah, no, you are, and what I love about you is you're very disciplined, but you understand the technology. Some of the challenges, though, on enterprise sales, that's where it gets to be a blast, right? Yeah,
you said the 5-letter word that I don't like, Chris. The sales.
Oh, yeah.
Hate it.
Yeah, nothing happens without selling. So was that one of your surprises when you started the company? Like,
yeah, because I'm really a technologist.
Yeah.
And so we geek out on building the tech. And, for us, we didn't believe, okay, just because you build it, we thought we build it, they're going to come. I already know
the dreams.
We build it, they're going to come. But they don't come unless somebody sells it to them. And so, I was deep in the code, writing code with my developers. And we looked up and like, man, we built this wonderful product. We don't have any sales. Somebody's got to go sell this. And everybody on my team, mostly all of us are developers, looked at me like, Barbara, you're the CEO. You got to go sell it. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I have to go sell it? Yeah, you got to go sell it. So I had to step out of coding, which I love to do, and I have to learn how to sell.
Yeah.
So that was hard.
And selling to enterprises is not easy
at all.
They will suck the living daylights out of you, won't they?
Yes, they will. And it's a long sales cycle. And we went the route of venture capital. And that puts so much pressure on you because venture capital is, you're not supposed to take the money until you're at a point where that money is going to basically put lighter fluid on a small fire and you blow up.
Yeah.
And so I think we took our funding probably too early. We were not at that point where it was like, a small fire was about to blow up. We still have to build more of the tech because it's loss prevention. It's got to work. They're not going to take a small MVP. Yep. This has to work. And so, yeah.
So when I say the enterprises can suck the life out of you, and this is for my large corporate enterprises listening to this, when you're dealing with smaller companies, they want to help you, they want to please you, they will do things, but they will ask you to pilot till you're out of business, won't they?
Exactly, for free pilots. And it's so much data, and we're paying Google Cloud, for the data. We're built on top of AI, so we're paying, for AI is expensive, especially for small companies, and we're training these models on their data, and so we have to raise venture capital.
And is it hard for you? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Is it hard for you when this big company comes to you and says, "Hey, I'm interested in your product, but let's test a few things out"?
Oh, it's so hard.
You as a developer, is it hard for you to say it's going to cost you up front? Or do you find yourself into the tendency of, and have you learned how to say it's going to cost you first?
At first, I was like, we can do it. Yeah. We'll do it free. You guys test it out. But where I am now is we have to do pay pilots. We cannot do free anymore. If you guys love it, we will deduct the pay pilot from when you sign on for the subscription.
Yeah.
But we have to have some money up front in order to do it. That's where I am now. But before, we just did it for free.
Yeah.
Amen. So,
you've had that happen, huh?
Yeah, I've had that happen.
Yeah.
Where are you at right now on your balance between operations and sales currently?
Well, I still do all the sales. I don't do any coding. I have a chief of staff. She handles all of the operations. But I don't think we have good processes in place. So love your product. But that's one thing that kind of gets us is we have a small team. We don't have a lot of processes in place, and all of us are working like crazy, to keep the company going. So operations, that's still something we're trying to figure out. But I do have somebody in charge of that. But I know she would be like 3x if we could get those processes in place.
Well, give me a call. I'll give you a free pilot.
So
one more question. You have to have a lot of resiliency in any startup.
Right.
Yeah.
How you came from a military background initially.
Yeah.
How did that help you?
Oh man, I think that's the reason I'm still here. You hear startups 5 years, whether you're going to make it or not. My company is 12 years old. Now, the product that we build, Free Returns, is new. That's less than 5 years old. But I've had the company since Oracle acquired us, so it's a 12-year-old company. And that grit from the military is like, we couldn't quit. You can't be in the middle. Like I remember in the Gulf War and getting to Saudi Arabia, getting off the plane and we hear, bomb, and we all have to drop everything, don our masks, because we didn't know if it was a gas attack.
Yeah.
And so you can't sit there and be like, well, I quit, I want to go back home. No, nobody wants to hear that. It's like, it's time for the mission.
Well, you can say that if you want to. You're going to go home, but it's a little bit arms crossed, legs straight, and a little dark cover over you.
Exactly. So, with the military, it was never a time where I could just quit. I always felt like if I quit, there's my fellow soldier next to me, who that's my buddy. I have to be with this person. It was never quit by any means necessary. Not an option. We were going to finish that mission. And so that's how I feel about this company. I have investors who invested in me, and I take that very seriously.
Yeah, I know you do.
And so for me, I want to get them a return on their investment. So quitting is not an option. What we have to do is pivot, because the climate right now is just, it's so hard. We have to pivot and find something that's going to help us be able to get the traction we need to return the money back to our investors.
Yeah. It's a tough position to be in, but I do know this: sales cures a lot of those ills.
Oh yes.
And I know
retailers, if you're listening, paid pilots, please, we need them.
Right. If you can wave your magic wand and land the group of customers that would, take you to the promised land.
Oh man, they're right here, Home Depot. Top of my list.
Yeah, so
would
just
love to work with
the
them.
exact community just expand out. Do you ever worry about them just going, the internal team saying, hey, we can just build that? Do you ever run into that?
Yeah, we run into that a lot. I think one of our first early MVPs, we showed it at a big retail conference.
Yeah.
And one of the big retail, I'm not going to say the name, but one of the big retailers there was like, wow, send us some information, looks really good. We sent them all of our information. And 2 weeks later, they announced that they were the exact same thing. Okay, here's our new offering. I was like, oh my God. And so they, they have a huge team. They were able to build it quickly. It was one of our early MVPs. But we learned then that really our gold is in the data and the analytics and the retail algorithms that we use from years of working on these type of applications and looking at different types of loss. That's our sweet spot. And so that's really our IP, are those algorithms and the data we've collected.
Yeah, no, but that is a worry though, when you show these large companies and they've got the development team sitting in there, they've got to vet you, and at the same time it's like,
Yeah. I think they can duplicate UI, but that magic of being able to detect different types of fraud and send out alerts, that's our IP, and that part they can't duplicate.
It is, but you know what? And I don't know, maybe I'm altruistic, but I think our country is built on the caring and honesty and integrity. And man, oh man, I hate to hear any time that isn't the case.
Yeah.
It's what a horrible way to live. It's stealing somebody else's ideas,
Yeah.
I'm curious too, just as an entrepreneur. A lot of people talk about work-life balance, and many times that's not there at all. Do you have that, or how do you even compartmentalize work-life balance?
I think you only work half days, right? And just depend on which half.
I'm a wife. I'm a mother. This is my second marriage. So unfortunately, my first marriage kind of fell apart because when I work on something, I'm a workaholic.
Yeah, I know you are.
And I'm like focused, and so my first husband was taking care of the kids. Like, that's not why he got married, for all of these things. So, that work-life balance has always been a struggle for me because I'm so passionate. I want to build this company. I got everybody, I feel like the weight of the company is on me. And my current husband has been just such a rock for me, to where he's come into my office and said, Barbara, get off the computer now. I'm like, then I stopped myself, okay, let me listen to him, because his concern is me and my health.
Yeah.
And I will work myself to the bone. And so my current husband is he's a rock, and he pulls me off. But
I'm going to say he's your last husband, right?
My last husband, not my current husband, my last husband. And, and my daughter, same thing. Everybody, their concern is for me. And they just want to make sure that I'm not just working myself to death and this is going to, get us to a certain point. But for me, I have to learn that work-life balance because I just want to go with the company.
Man, I love that. And I also, don't you just feel like when you're talking to her, it's like, man, these companies should be giving her this, because she would be, talk about freeing returns, she would be like, release the Kraken. That's what I would do. I would be like, go,
let
baby,
us
go.
prove to you what we can do.
Yeah, I mean, you're investing in this amazing company with a great solution, with a return on investment, but really, you also get Barbara.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Which you don't get with a lot of other
The big
massive
companies, that's what we
enterprise
tell them
companies.
is you guys are a number. With us, it's priority.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to do everything to make sure that the software is everything you need to be, and we're early enough to where you can influence the roadmap. So if there's things you wanted to see in a loss prevention product, we're the team that can build that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go to this, my favorite question, which is not really a great question, but it is in a lot of ways. And I think your answer is going to be yes, but have you ever wanted to quit?
Yes.
Wait a minute. And how do you grind through that?
I mean, I wake up every day, and before I started this company, I was a very highly paid retail point of sale consultant, like very highly paid. My daughters, I grew up very poor, and so I never wanted that for my daughters.
Yeah.
My daughters grew up as little rich spoiled girls. They were little rich spoiled girls, and I wanted that for them. And so, the company now has taken so much time and definitely having some struggles. But, so I wake up every morning and think, man, I could go back to what I used to do. I was a highly paid retail POS consultant. Now I'm paying myself, a little bit of money. Why do I keep doing this? And for me, that grit, I want to return money to my investors. I want to see this product do what I know it can do for these retailers.
Because the gap isn't being filled. I mean, the fact of the matter is they can say, oh, we're working on it, but that pain and your pain point has not been filled.
It has not been filled.
Yeah.
And there are people in this space who have been in this loss prevention space for 20 plus years. And the loss is going up by 25% year over year. So it's not working. We have to innovate.
Absolutely.
Take that back from the end of your last sentence. Chris,
how
is it possible? How is it possible? Tell me.
You told us to turn off our
it's
phones.
Mark Carson. I am
One job. You had one job. Leave this in there.
Yeah.
Will you text him that we're? Yeah. And I'll just text me where we're going, and I'll be there. Okay.
We just take it back from the sentence or two before.
Yeah.
Where were we with that?
Great
Yeah.
question.
So you were talking. So.
Yeah. It was, so for me, just having that grit, and I have investors that I have to return an investment on. And for me, and then I have customers who I know once they get their hands on this product, what we'll be able to do to help them. And so, I wake up and I may think, okay, I can go back to my life of being this highly paid, I keep saying that, I was highly paid consultant. Or I can build this company the way I know I need to build it. I can find these early adopters who want this product. I can scale it, grow it, and hopefully have that same type of acquisition that I saw with my first company. Then I'll go do.
So, I mean, it's such a no-brainer, and I hate to go back into the business, but it's such a no-brainer because, the cost that the return on investment for these companies is enormous.
Enormous,
millions.
Like
what's reducing, shrinkage by 5%, which is not even close to the total return that you can give them, right? But 5% of a few billion. Hello. Yeah, and so I mean it's a no-brainer, and like we all know once we get those early adopters in, and we can show everybody what the application can do with this ecosystem, we will blow up. Yeah. But we need the first few people to come on, so we need those pilots. Yep, you know what? I hope this audience, we have a great audience, and you enterprise folks, please give me a call.
Reach out. Come on, retailers.
We need to get her going. So,
can I ask one more business question?
Sure.
So obviously over the years, the automated self-checkout stuff has become extremely popular, and it seems like that would give you even more of a niche as it does. Is that how that works?
Yeah, I think self-checkout was a great idea, but I think a lot of retailers have realized that more fraud happens at that self-checkout than what they actually get by the smaller amount of resources in the store. And so what we've seen is they're starting to pull those out.
It's an awesome solution.
Yeah. I do. I mean, I like just my own moral compass won't let me take a single penny, whether it's a nut from a little thing from Ace Hardware, but not everybody's like that. It's easy for them to stick 3 things in the bag and count 2.
Yeah, and they have less associates in the store, so it's less people to even watch what's going on.
Yeah.
So our technology, that's why it's so needed, because we have cameras. Well, I'm not going to say where they are, but we can watch what's going on.
But even that with the data, if you're tying in the data, you could actually look at trends and you can see compared to across an entire. I mean, I don't know how many Home Depots there are, but there's thousands, right? The data doesn't lie, and you can see where the trends and what's going on in different areas. So
it's all in the data. Yeah.
So, Barbara, thank you so much for being my guest today.
Guys.
And I've got your jersey on. Blake, you do too, right?
Absolutely. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you for being
Thank
in.
you, guys.
Blake, always good to spend time with you.
It's great to be here.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the ATDC podcast. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, and share or connect wherever you get your podcasts. Please be sure to follow us on social media. Our handle is @ATDC on X, LinkedIn, and Instagram.